kind of mixed emotions about this game. You know, the big piece that very disappointed about is it being 19-10 in the second half. You know, 20-6, we scored on every drive on offense, start the game, and in the first half, we had to settle for a field goal on the first drive, and then we had to settle for a field goal on the last drive of the first half. You know, probably could have done a little bit better job right there to give us a chance to try to score a touchdown right there at the end of the first half. But 20-6, you know, felt like we were in a good spot coming out of halftime to, you know, go do better and go be better in the second half. And then, you know, don't know if we ran out of gas, don't know if we were just I don't know. You got to put my thumb on that, and I got to look at that and see. But that's what's discouraging to me is the 19-10 in the second half because we ended up punting 3 times in the second half, ended up settling for a couple field goals, and you know, and that's not Georgia Southern football. We should have went ahead and put that game away. What I will say is the great thing is when I got in the locker room, I didn't have to talk about it. The guys were already talking about it. They already talked about it's not acceptable. This is not the way we're going to play games. This is not the way Georgia Southern football is going to be. We got to make sure we're taking care of business in the second half. So happy we won. Disappointed in what it looked like there in the second half.
Coach, you alluded to it. You're playing an FCS school. You've got more scholarship players than they do. Typically, you would think the second half, that's when we start imposing our will. It didn't look like it. It looked like it was the opposite, that they started kind of getting things rolling a little more than you did.
Yeah, I think the big piece to it is, you know, giving up 2 big pass plays that kept them in it, you know, and giving them life and giving them juice, you know, and going, oh, we can play with them instead of us going, no, this ain't the way it's going to be. We're going to make sure we stop it. I thought the defense was playing well other than getting dirty eyes and getting hit on a double pass, getting hit on, you know, a double move, you know, in single coverage type stuff. But then it looked like in the second half, Gardner Webb was able to put drives together. I didn't feel that way in the first half. I felt like, you know, we just gave up a couple big plays, and they were able to put drives together. The other piece to it, when it was time for the offense, you know, again, I think we were 100% in the red zone, but again, we came away with 3 points in the second half instead of 7 points. Only the, you know, the 1 touchdown in the second half. So I think that's where we got to go tomorrow, and we've really got to make sure that we understand why this ended up being the way it was in that second half. I do believe in our guys, though, and I believe in our staff. I do think that we can correct this. I do think we can get this right because the guys in there were not happy with that win. And anytime that you got a team that's unsatisfied with a win, that's a good thing. I think a little bit the first touchdown, you know, I'd have to go back and look at it, but I think we kind of fell for a double move instead of, you know, sitting on our route. The second touchdown was a trick play. It was the double pass, and our corner came up, tried to be aggressive and go make the play, and obviously left the guy wide open on it. You know, dirty eyes. You know, we got to have clean eyes in that situation. I think those things are correctable. I do. I don't think that that's something that just sounds the alarms on anything. I mean, I think that's just, you know, hey, we got to be cleaner with our eyes and we got to be smarter there. And I think if we eliminate those, it's probably a different game, but we didn't. And, you know, hats off to Gardner Webb. They outplayed us in the second half. Coach Roos and I had been talking, you know, really since camp started, you know, kind of what we wanted to do with our quarterbacks. We felt like it was best to start Amari because of his college experience. You know, we didn't really think that Cam would not do well. Just, you know, big stage, you know, right out of high school. We felt like Amari could go in there and it wouldn't be too big for him. You know, we had talked about when we would want to get Cam in. We were careful about telling the guys that because of the way the game, you know, you never know how the game's going to unfold. and you want to make sure if you're going to put a rookie quarterback in, you put him in when it's an advantage for him, you know. So there was really no discussion with the guys about when you would go in and all that type of stuff. But obviously as coaches, we had talked through that. We were running the ball fairly decent, and, you know, I don't know what I guess we ended up with 500 total yards and 365 yards rushing. You know, points just wasn't correlating. So, you know, I think that if you were in a situation where, you know, you're going to need to throw the ball every down, all that type of stuff, we definitely could have done that. But there was really just, hey, man, let's just keep playing both of them and see who gets the hot hand, who does a good job with it.
The red zone issues where you had to settle for 3 instead of 7, do you feel like that was, if Justin was in there, things might have been differently? Or are you more concerned, we got to figure out how to do this no matter who's in it?
Well, you know, the thing that got us with one of them, we ended up going on 4th down, so we didn't end up kicking a field goal. But, you know, we had the false start that kind of jacked us up, and then we had a missed block down on the goal line that put us in a situation where we needed to kick the field goal and get the 3 points. You know, I don't want to sit here and just say it was one thing, or to me it was probably several things, and it was probably more of a conjunction of the whole offense, not just you know, maybe one player.
Do you feel like the line blocked well? Do you feel like there's concerns about the offense other than maybe the quarterback situation?
I thought early on the line blocked well, and I really would like to look at it in the second half. However, I just felt like we were tired. I felt like, you know, I didn't see the, hey, let's go finish this thing off mentality. And I don't want to say that about our offensive line. I think that was just more us as a team. And so I'd really like to look at that before I make that assumption, because, you know, when you start looking at what we end up having,
350 yards.
Yep. And really everybody was averaging over 5 yards a carry. You know, that's a little bit different. So, again, I just felt that way in the second half. I just felt like there wasn't a finish mentality, and we didn't have enough gas in our tank to do it. So, again, I need to watch the film and figure that out, but that's my concern.
After what happened last year with Campbell, was there a lot of talk about we cannot take these guys for granted? We know that everybody's coming. They're going to give us our best shot.
Yeah, I mean, we always talk about that. We know we're going to get everybody's best shot, but everybody else needs to start getting Georgia Southern's best shot. And we don't need to let these guys hang around and things like that. We had an opportunity to blow the game out. We did, and we didn't. And that's not any disrespect to Gardner Webb. They did a good job. Their coaches did a good job. They played hard. But we had an opportunity to blow that game out, and we didn't do it.
And that was a concern last year. You mentioned, we don't want to use that term again, but putting them away.
Right.
Let's just say. That was something that in games last year really concerns you, that the team's got to be able to go for the knockout blow when you got it.
No question. We got to find a way to make them tap. We got to put them away sooner. You know, and we got a tough game coming up with FAU. So if we think tonight's effort was going to be good enough for next week, we're sadly mistaken. So we got to go back to work, and we got to make sure we're better next week.
How will you decide who's going to be starting quarterback?
I think the big piece is watching the film and just figuring out who gives us the best chance to win and who can lead our offense the best. But I still wouldn't be surprised if we're a 2-quarterback system.
Where was Sam tonight?
Sam was third-string guy. We were hoping to get him in. Way the game played out didn't present itself. I'm very proud of Britton. Came out. We had actually talked about you know, taking the ball first and not letting him kick off. But he was chomping at the bit and wanted to kick off. He wanted to start the season with a kickoff, and he did, and did a tremendous job. I thought he did a really good job going in, knocking a 49-yarder, his very first field goal. I thought he did a good job on kickoff. He had one bad kick that I didn't like. It was a low line hanger, but it ended up going through the end zone and been a touchback for us. But I thought, as far as his kickoffs went, he had good height, good hang time, good placement, which helped our kickoff coverage. And, you know, we struggled with that last year, so very proud of Britton.
When did he find out he was going to be the starter?
Early this week. I think the way this thing played out, there's a lot to learn from it. If we would have blown it out, You know, maybe there was a false sense of something too. You know, but I would rather take it that way. I'd rather blow that game out, blow the doors off, and finish it off. But this will be a very, very valuable film to watch, and we got to go get better. I think there's some very promising things. I like the tempo. We can go fast when we want to go fast. We can slow it down when we want to slow it down. And I think we showed that we can run a 2-minute offense fairly well too. So I think there's some really positive things that we're going to be able to take away from this game that can help build our offense to being high-powered. Again, we scored 30 points. We need to score more. I don't like the fact that we had to settle for those couple field goals there in the second half. That kind of bothers me. But again, everybody's got to be on the same page at the same time, or that's what happens. You got to settle for field goals.